Straight out of the beautiful Sonoran Desert in Arizona, it's the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. The Medicare podcast for those who are 3 sheets to the wind. His favorite store advertises liquor in the front and poker in the rear. Medicare expert Doug Jones.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. I'm hoping that my Canadian nephew, Drew McMillan, actually dragged himself out of bed this morning so that he could do his podcast hosting and introduction duties by telling you who I am. But in case he didn't, I'm going to tell you that I am Doug Jones, your Medicare expert, and I'll be here all day. If you have questions, there's going to be my email contact address at the end of the episode. That'll be announced so that you can send me your questions. And if it's time for you to consider Medicare, then what I often suggest is that you consider buying my book, Medicare for the Lazy Man. The current edition is 2024. It is on sale at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. At Amazon, there are 4 different editions. You can choose the paperback edition. You can choose the Kindle edition, which is very reasonably priced and instantly available. You can choose the Audible edition, in which somebody, I don't know who, reads the book to you, and they turn the pages for you, and they take the Medicare knowledge and kind of drift it into your ears so that you don't really have to do any work to acquire that Medicare knowledge. And of course, there is the ultimate Christmas gift, which I believe you can still get on time for Christmas, or maybe, a New Year's gift. Some families exchange New Year's gifts. I don't know where these families are, but I would like to think that at least some of them might be interested in purchasing the exquisite hardcover version of Medicare for the Lazy Man. It's a $24 item, but if you accidentally leave the price tag on it, when the recipient rips that paper off and squeals in delight, they'll know that you loved them and respected them to the tune of at least $24 worth. So that's a gift idea from me to you. And from me to Randy Carson, I say, hey, happy shortest day of the year, Randy. We're going to do 2 episodes, cramming the recording time into the shortest day of the year.
I know. I know. Are we going to make it?
I hope so, but I'm not sure.
Oh, well, that could be, we could be shut down right before all of our quarters run out. Now that doesn't happen very often, but
well, the quarters seem to be a routine problem around here. But the other problem is that between episodes, before episodes and after episodes, we tend to be yakking at each other too much. I mean, we were talking about motorcycle riding dangers, and we were talking about 2 or 3 other things. We went to a French restaurant for our Christmas party last night.
Tell them about the huge Medicare for the Lazy Man Christmas party at a local French restaurant. Oh, it was awesome.
We've been running advertisements all year long, and every time we run an ad, I can hear the tingle of the coins falling into the piggy bank. And so we smashed the piggy bank, took all that money out, and went to a hoity-toity French restaurant here in it's in Cave Creek, Arizona. And we sat there swilling alcohol. And of course, Randy can't go with the French theme for too long. He drifts off the reservation. So he ordered fettuccine Alfredo. I don't even know why.
It was the French version, though.
Oh, okay. Well, it looked pretty tasty. I'm going to try that next time we go there. So I have to apologize to the fans that have contacted us about Christmas. We've heard from Larry and from Dean, and Steve, of course, invited himself to the party via Zoom. We couldn't figure out how to do that in somebody else's restaurant without getting thrown out. And we were surrounded by people who were not as rowdy and boisterous as we were. So, frankly, it was a wonderful evening, and it should happen more often than once a year.
Oh, it really should. Maybe we should, instead of just a Christmas party, maybe we should have several parties throughout the year. We can come up with some reason for it, right?
We sure can. The thing is, I kind of like the idea of having some advertising revenue left over to pay other bills. So, so at some point, I think we're going to find ourselves celebrating various, like St. Swithin's Day was a
Well,
popular
yeah,
joke on Bob Newhart.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think we'll be sitting in your driveway drinking your beer occasionally.
Oh my, but that it was an awesome, awesome meal. And by the way, we had great company and we told some good stories, many of which we can't tell on the air, but
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard I just about couldn't breathe.
Well, I'm glad you were there. I was ready to do the Heimlich maneuver on you if breathing became a problem. But yeah, we did share a bunch of stories and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I learned more about Ireland than I ever thought it was possible to know. Some of the quirks and habits that happen in Irish pubs, the behavior of the patrons and so forth. So all
Oh
in all,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's one thing we talked about a lot of things, but one of them, and I'll tell. I probably won't tell the story today, but those of you who have been to Ireland or who are, descended from the old ground, the old sod, uh, trads. I love trads. So I don't know that I've ever told you about being, attending a trad, but those of you who know anything about Ireland or anything else about it close, you'll know what a trad is. And it is the most fun you could have with your clothes on.
hmm, I don't think the word trad ever entered my consciousness last night.
No, we didn't talk about trads, but
Yeah,
it's
we did.
it's a everything in Ireland is an abbreviation. Trad stands for traditional. Now
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's as far as I'll take the story, but
All right.
someday we'll tell you all about it. And we've participated in them, and they are absolutely a blast.
Someday I'll have to tell the story about my last visit to uh, Second City in Chicago,
Oh
and
yeah.
how how we were almost ejected by angry actors, and uh,
Yes, I remember. Oh, that I was laughing so hard last night when you told that story. I thought, wow, we're gonna have to tell that on air. Maybe we're gonna have to, modify it just a little bit, but not too much.
yeah, I'll change a couple of terms to be more politically correct. Although, given the results of our last election, I think political correctness may be a thing of the past. I'm hoping.
Yeah, yeah, they may be going out there, maybe going out the window. So anyway, I
Yep.
know that I've got some responsibilities that I
Yeah.
need to take care of today, and
I'm hoping you did
yeah.
spend some time on this selection.
Yeah,
Every episode.
after I got home last night, I pulled out the list and I said I got to pick out. Oh, let's see. I've got to pick out the Medicare Advantage Minute,
Yep.
and I am gonna go for number two.
All righty. Well, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not a regular listener. We want to save people from enrolling in Medicare Advantage plans because often, not always, but often it leads to disappointment and frustration. And so I've got a stack of articles describing Medicare Advantage plans. I've numbered them from 1 to what was it, 476. And
Well, and then there's subsections too.
yes, it's very
376A through Z. Oh, yeah,
this,
it's really pretty straightforward indexing scheme.
but you have to have a degree in library sciences to be able to figure it out, though. So Randy selects one article because we don't want to beat the subject to death and have people hitting the on-off switch. So Randy selects one article every time, and what we do is we pull that article out of the stack, like I'm doing right now. We put the big giant clip. I can barely squeeze this thing, and oh man, almost got my finger caught in it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see what this article have to say. It says CMS, that's the government. We're just going to call that the government. CMS proposes new guardrails on Medicare Advantage prior authorizations and marketing. It has to be a couple of months old because I think it was written before we knew what the results of the election were going to be. But it says here that the Biden administration is attempting to push through a slew of reforms to the controversial Medicare Advantage program in its final months in power. Well, I guess somebody knew what was going on. On Thursday, the government proposed additional guardrails around Medicare Advantage plans' prior authorization practices, including their use of artificial intelligence amid rising concerns that algorithms are being used to improperly delay or deny care. Another point, the proposed rule also aims to improve provider directories, give regulators more oversight into how plans administer supplemental benefits, and crack down on predatory marketing. Oh boy, if they can only do that. It also puts new criteria in place for reporting medical loss ratios, an important metric of planned spending. It's the same rule in which the Biden administration is seeking to allow Medicare to cover weight loss drugs for patients with obesity. And this would be the first time that that would be allowed. The incoming Trump administration will have the final say-so as to whether the proposals are finalized, given the timing of the rulemaking process. The Biden administration is attempting to push through a slew of reforms to the controversial Medicare Advantage program in its final months in power, although it will need the Trump administration's buy-in to get them across the finish line. Medicare Advantage has grown to cover more than half of Medicare enrollees, but has faced scrutiny about coverage, quality, and access that has been amplified by recent reports of algorithms for utilization management and claims reviews, contributing to sky-high levels of denials. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. The denial rate for claims in Medicare Advantage plans is sky high. It's ever increasing. On average, Medicare Advantage plans overturn 80% of the claim denials when they're appealed, but fewer than 4% of the denied claims are appealed. So let's go over that again. Many claims are denied, and the customers, only 4% of the customers manage to figure out how to file an appeal, even though the instructions are supposed to be printed, easily understood, and widely distributed. So of the 4% who file an appeal, 80% are successful. So why is it that these plans are still denying and postponing claims? It's because of that 96% that don't even file appeals. That means that when they deny a claim, there's a very small chance that anybody's ever going to appeal it. And, the small chance that they're going to appeal it means that most of the claims that they deny are going to stay denied, and they'll just save that money for future uses like Christmas parties and so forth. So what this means is more patients, could likely have access to care if inappropriate prior authorizations did not block that care. The data aligns with past research. A 2018 government audit found that Medicare Advantage plans ultimately approved 75% of the appealed requests that were originally denied. The proposed rule would limit overly restrictive utilization management policies by further clarifying a Medicare Advantage payment rule that was finalized last spring. Wow. I think that's the gist of this article. We've got several more pages of garbage that I could bore you with, considering the fact that Medicare Advantage is not so much boring as anger producing, but I think you've heard the crux of the article, which is the fact that Medicare Advantage plans survive by denying claims and delaying benefits, and the prior authorization process is just one step in that thing. And so theoretically, the Biden administration is working to to fix that problem. I don't really think he even gets out of bed on most days, so I'm not sure that I believe what this article told me.
Well, we've talked about this many times on the podcast, but they use the denials just as a way to control disbursements. That's all they do.
That's right.
And bottom line is when you see a situation where, 75 to 80% of the denials are then approved after they are, brought before the court again, so to speak. Bottom line is it just lets it right out in the air that they are using that as a way to control expenses. And
that's the way single payer plans like in Canada and England manage to meet their budgetary constraints. What happens is they call that rationing care. So if they say, look, we've got a certain amount of money that we can spend on treatment of sick and, ill, sick, needy participants in the plan this year, then when they start to run out of money, they just start denying claims. And they tell these people, I'm sorry, but this does not qualify for one reason or another. And that's how they don't spend all their money. They conserve their resources because they don't have enough resources apparently to treat everyone. And that's why I love private enterprise, because people who work for themselves or people who own companies in the private sector are much more creative about figuring out how to solve problems at a more reasonable cost. And we're all better off ultimately with that benefit. Now, Randy may remember this. I'm holding up a cover of a book. Boy, there's a
I do. I see
stripe.
that.
There is a black stripe. Oh, this meeting is being recorded. And I'll say, okay, now you can see or at least I can see the whole screen.
Yes, I see that.
So I sent this book. This is a brand new book, Your Government at Work, spending your money for everybody's benefit. It's called Your Medicare Benefits. If you go to medicare.gov, they have a publication section, and Your Medicare Benefits is a brand new publication. It's got a big 2024 on the cover, so I expect that they're going to put out a 2025 edition. But the book is 113 pages long, and if you discount the cover with the lady clutching her hands together, and if you discount the anti-discrimination page, which gives you numbers and email addresses so you can complain that you've been discriminated against, then what you've got here is a list of all the stuff. We used to have so much fun with the list of items that Medicare covers. And I used to test Randy to see whether certain items would be covered. Would they be covered at 100%? Would they be covered at all under Medicare? And often, Randy, we were shocked that dance lessons had a place in the list of items that Medicare addressed. And I forget what the result was. But if you are in need of a list of the items and services and procedures that Medicare covers, it is all written down on paper now. It used to have to, go to medicare.gov and click on the search window and type in, is my item or service covered? And that would lead you to a very lengthy list of procedures and items and things like that. In this case, you can get it all in a publication. I'm guessing they'll send it to you, but if you're like me and you like to kill trees, you can print that sucker out, and it's only it's going to take my printer, which is better than average, probably about 2 hours to print the whole thing. But once it's done, it's going to be a valuable resource. So I just thought I'd let everybody know. We're going to execute. We're going to put a link on our brand spanking new website that we haven't even talked about yet, so that you'll be able to get that publication as well as the other government publications. And speaking of fun, if you like reading government publications, you're really going to love hearing the advertising that we've got lined up for you today. So let us see what that's all about. Oh boy, that was great. Another Christmas party is on the way. I could hear the coins clinking into the piggy bank. Pretty exciting. I ran across a story that it's not specifically about Medicare, but it is about health care. And I didn't know if this would be of interest to our listenership. And I thought maybe I should, responsibility dictates that I share this with everybody else. This was an episode that happened in Haiti. And now I know that some of the Haitians apparently have moved to some town in Columbus, and they're eating the geese in the municipal ponds and so forth and so on. That came out during the election process. But in this case, this is a situation in Haiti in which healthcare became a central factor of an event that was pretty sad. The headline of this article is Unveiling the Hidden Fear: Assaults on Voodoo Devotees in Haiti. A brutal massacre of 200 voodoo practitioners in Haiti exposes a deadly intersection of gang violence and religious persecution, leaving a community in terror and the world in shock. Now, I never thought I'd read an article that was positive towards voodoo practitioners. Your traditional middle America, Christians are not typically too interested in the welfare of voodoo practitioners. But this article says that nearly 200 practitioners were killed in a massacre in Port-au-Prince, which is Haiti's capital. The attack was reportedly led by a gang boss who believed his son's illness was caused by a voodoo curse. So he sent his gang out to kill all the voodoo practitioners, and I guess they found about 200 of them and slaughtered them. This incident highlights the ongoing violence and instability in Haiti, with over 5,000 murders this year alone. That's got to put it right up there with Chicago as a murder capital. I don't know which one. I don't know how big Port-au-Prince is. The scale of violence in Haiti has reached alarming levels. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights stated these latest killings bring the death toll just this year in Haiti to a staggering 5,000 people. This surge in violence has left over 360,000 people homeless and pushed nearly 2 million Haitians to the brink of famine. Voodoo is a syncretic religion. I don't know what that means exactly. It combines elements of Catholicism and African animism beliefs and has long been a cornerstone of Haitian culture and identity. Despite its official recognition in 2003, practitioners continue to face discrimination and violence. The recent massacre is a stark reminder of the persistent stigma and misconceptions surrounding this faith. Well, they're really making voodoo. They're putting lipstick on that pig. I didn't think anybody would ever go this far to portray voodoo as anything other than an oddball, weirdo practitioner or practice. The final paragraph here, ironically, as Haiti descends further into chaos, voodoo is gaining more followers and influence. With the government largely absent and security deteriorating, many Haitians are turning to voodoo practitioners known as Ungans and Mambos for help with urgent issues like locating kidnapped loved ones or seeking protection from violence. Well, I guess if your only source of hope for a better life is a voodoo practitioner on the corner or down the street, I would probably turn to that source too as a last resort. But voodoo is just not my idea of a religion that is practiced normally in a of society that wants to improve itself. You know, frankly, we've spent generations trying to improve our lifestyles, and Haitian voodoo is not a method I would suggest as it's going to be beneficial for prosperity. I've got a couple of pages of correspondence, and of course, the content curator always loves it when I address correspondence from either clients or from people who want to be clients. So let me look at this and see what I've got here. Dear Mr. Jones, I turned 65 in October and my wife will be 67 in January. I'm currently writing on her employee health coverage at the Pepper Mill, a local casino where she deals blackjack. She has been cutting back on her hours and has expected to lose that coverage at the end of this year. Lo and behold, however, the Pepper Mill recently notified her that she had worked enough hours to qualify for their group plan until the middle of 2025, until like 6 months from now. That plan costs only about $115 for each of us and has a $300 deductible each, and then 20% copay up to $7,500. The choice of providers meets our needs for now, and the plan also covers most of the cost of our prescriptions and dental care. And it comes with $300 annual vision allowance. We are strongly leaning towards keeping that plan for another 6 months. If we decide to cancel, we have to notify Peppermill by the 15th of the previous month. That would be Monday for next month. After that, we are leaning towards getting an Advantage plan for the remainder of 2025 before enrolling in a high deductible plan G beginning in 2026. I would like to get your input on whether this strategy makes sense and whether I'm missing any potential drawbacks. Here's my phone number. I live in Reno. I enjoyed reading your book and watching some of your podcasts. Ooh, if he could see us, he would prefer to listen to the podcasts, I'm pretty sure. But this is from Rick. And so I said, hello, Rick. Thanks for writing. That casino health insurance sounds better than almost every other employer group plan I've ever heard about. You didn't mention your wife having an HSA, so you might consider enrolling in Part A of Medicare right away since it won't cost anything, and it will get you on the books at the Social Security Administration for your eventual Part B enrollment. I would ask your wife to have a heart-to-heart chat with her HR types with the knowledge of their insurance benefits to make sure that you both will be fully covered during that 6-month period. Will your wife be carried on the books as an actively at work employee during the time you expect to take advantage of the casino's generous offer? If I understand the very complex Medicare regulations correctly, that would be an important distinction. If she will not be considered an active employee, the clock will be ticking on an 8-month period that will guarantee you each will be allowed to enroll in Medicare after active employment ends. If you were to inadvertently cross that threshold, you would have to wait until February before the remaining parts of Medicare would be able to start. You would not be able to get any type of Medicare supplement or Advantage plan until then, and the need for caution here cannot be stressed enough. One other question: why enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan for half the year? Once you reach the June 30th cutoff, I would go right into Medicare Parts A and B with the supplement of your choice. Once you each have a Medicare supplement that you like, the only thing to be concerned about each fall would be the prescription drug plan, which might or might not be planning to change in an unpleasant way the following year. Besides, if everything bad happened during the period or if anything bad happened during the period you were members of the Medicare Advantage plan, you would not have the advantage of the much more benign Medicare protection, and you would learn firsthand what all the Medicare Advantage complaining is all about. Those are my thoughts. I hope they have helped. Also, I look forward to assisting with your eventual transition to Medicare when the casino coverage comes to an end. And he said, now he's really thought this out. He said, thanks for the prompt response, Doug. Yes, we did talk to the HR rep. The group insurance will continue through June unless she resigns or is terminated. My thinking about the 6 months on Advantage plans is that we could take advantage of some of the goodies, the prescriptions, dental, vision, etc., for 6 months, and then start high deductible plan G without undergoing underwriting. Yes, a serious medical condition during that period could be costly, but I figure that's a lot less likely in 2025 than it will be in later years. And then I said, well, it sounds like you've done your homework. Thanks for the kind words about my products. I will be looking forward to our next opportunity to connect. And he then said, thanks again, Doug. Also, and then it looks like IIUC. I don't know what that means. I should ask artificial intelligence, Perplexity, what that means. He said, we can switch to Plan G or high deductible Plan G during the Medicare Advantage trial period with short notice the previous month if one of us suffers a catastrophic illness next year. I'm also assuming we could also switch from my wife's group plan with the same advance notice. So here's a guy who's given serious thought to their future Medicare plans, and I think he's probably got it figured out pretty well. He's going to be able to maximize his utilization of the bennies that come with a fairly cheap, if not free, Medicare Advantage plan. He's going to milk them dry and then leave them in the dust. And that doesn't sound like a bad idea, as long as he doesn't blow any of his deadlines for getting guaranteed issue Medicare supplement a year from now. And here's some correspondence from another person who was writing about the supplement, or the podcast episode that I entitled Part D Prescription Drug Plan Traps. And that was the headline of his email here. He wrote, "Hi, Doug, your client, Paul Hayhurst here." Ooh, I normally don't use people's last names, so forget that you heard that. He said, "I'm very happy with your recommendation of United American as my Medicare insurance. I followed your instructions, and WellCare Value Script prescription drug plan is my best choice for my prescription drug Part D insurance. Would it help if you enrolled me? Let me know. Also, you mentioned dental plans. Please forward information." I said, "Hi, Paul. Good to hear from you. I hope you have another drug plan in place because the window for changing plans is open from October 15th to December 7th. There are special exemptions for things like relocation, but if you didn't move, you're stuck for another year. I will be happy to enroll you in your chosen plan at that time." And he said, "I thought open enrollment was through the 15th of December. I'm pretty happy with my Humana drug plan, so that'll be okay until next year. Thank you for the dental information. I sent him dental information on the two plans that I'm telling everybody about, Ameritas and NCD from MetLife. And so I said that particular open enrollment that you were confused about applies to health insurance for people that are under age 65. So unfortunately, he blew a deadline, but he already had a drug plan, so no problem there. What we do have a problem with is the clock on the wall telling us that it's time to get out of here. Randy's going, yeah, we're out of quarters. I'm sure he's going to bring that up again. Randy, what do you say about ending this particular episode?
We're out of quarters, Doug.
I knew I was going to hear that. Ouch.
So I do have one little thing I wanted to mention to the audience. You know, we used to do this quite a while ago, and I may want to trot this out one more time, but I'm going to put a cliffhanger out here. And those of you who are my age or older know what a cliffhanger is. So the cliffhanger is for next episode. The cliffhanger is what is the location? Because we had some discussion in this episode about a blackjack dealer.
Yes, we
What
did.
is the location of the longest running poker game, continuously running poker game in the world? That's the cliffhanger for next time.
Oh, boy.
So let's go ahead and close up shop. But before I do, get your pencil out. DBJ at MLMmailbag.com. You can reach out to Doug any time of the day or night. He runs 24/7. I don't know when the man sleeps. He will be monitoring that email box. DBJ at MLMmailbag.com. Don't forget, he is licensed nationwide to help you with your Medicare supplement planning. And as Doug mentioned, we've now got the brand spanking new shiny, very functional, cool, if I do say so myself, MedicareForTheLazyMan.com website is now live in our wanderings through the internet. We've still got a few days before the end of the year. Drop us some reviews. We could always use them. We're still trying to outrun the travel logs, and we're doing a pretty good job of it, I might add. Last but certainly not least, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for joining us for all the times you do during the year, because we would love to have you, and we would really miss you if you weren't here. But I know darn well you weren't checking your watch. You have just spent about 32 and a half minutes with Doug Jones, the anti-insurance insurance guy, originally from Oklahoma. No more. He's up in the Nosebleed Mountains behind Cave Creek, Arizona, in his fortress of solitude. That's where he likes to stay. And today, he's up at about 9,200 feet.
Oh boy. It's a beautiful sunny day here. The shortest day of the year, but it's the day that winter officially begins. But we're in Arizona. With any luck, we're never going to see winter again. And that's the way I like it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Randy. Thanks, everybody. We'll be looking forward to seeing you next time around. Bye-bye.